Hey everyone, I'm Charting Man Dan. I've been trading cannabis stocks for 13 years and 3 months at this point. We're going to check in on the sector after another bullish week, but definitely a lot of volume, a lot of things being shuffled around into the close today. And we'll take a look at that, watching for the potential of some rotation to begin taking place. As always, thanks for the likes and the shares. Our analytics on Twitter and YouTube are telling us that people want cannabis content, so we're going to make more of it as long as that's the information that we are receiving. So we're going to talk longer term real quick, and then we're going to zoom into today's action. As I mentioned, talk a little bit about rotation. But first things first, as the thumbnail says, a first for cannabis stock. So January has now closed, and this is the first time that MSOS has ever closed above monthly EMA 12 resistance after 1, 2, 3, 4, essentially 5 little rejections over the last couple of years. It's now support. We also have the first ever confirmed monthly uptrend with a higher low and a higher high. These are two things that the bulls really wanted to see happen. We are now in an uptrend on the monthly, weekly, daily time frame. We have not been able to say that in a very, very long time. So I'm now going to cut away to a little short clip from a video that I did 6 months ago trying to find the cannabis sector bottom, and that was somewhere around here is when I filmed this video. And I'm going to talk in the video. You'll see things that I said have to happen and then compare it to where we stand right now.
Trying to shift momentum, but let's go big picture. Monthly charts have a ton of work to do. When's the last time we've been in monthly uptrends? Not since the all-time highs. So we can say the next time we have monthly uptrends confirmed in the sector, things will be significantly different than we've seen in years. And so what I have to see is bull follow through, a monthly higher low, and a monthly higher high. And so part of changing long-term trends, you have to sit through red months. So we're going to be watching the long-term time frames as well, because we are not full steam ahead for the bulls until we have confirmed monthly, weekly, daily uptrends all aligning. And right now, the monthly charts have a long way to go. And look at I use the EMA 12, the red line here. We held it as support on the way up. It's rejecting as resistance on the way down. And here comes a key test yet again. You hear me talk about EMA 12 a lot because it's a guide of mine. And for Curaleaf, that's the next monthly hurdle that we're looking at.
So as I said, monthly charts have a long way to go. 6 months ago, it took 6 months for this to shape up. And we now have it in terms of a monthly uptrend. Some names still don't have it quite yet, but other names do. So zooming into today's action, MSOS, we got an upper wick. We know that the next time we see daily consolidation, anything above 913 is a daily high or low, and we know the EMA 12 is a bit of a visual guide, and it was a very high volume day, but really it was all in the afternoon when that volume started pouring in. Look at that 15-minute candle to end the day with 5 million shares traded. That is a third of the entire day's volume in the last 15 minutes of trading. So we have an hourly uptrend still. The bulls bought that dip. Today's action it was an unusual day all over. We had a 1-minute candle to start the day that just went straight up, 5%, lack of liquidity, lack of resistance. And then there's a level to play off of after that point. Because, we know once we broke 988, there's nothing nearby, 10 psychological. But then once we have 1050, it's not a coincidence that we top out at that level to the penny and then drop 7% from that double top. It's because when there's nothing to go off of, now you have a new level. Bulls take some profit under resistance. Bears play off of that level. And anybody that played off 1050 resistance made good money on that drop. We then hit first 15-minute oversold conditions. We haven't seen that in a while. So MSOS, that 15-minute RSI at the low of this candle, it got down to about 31. And the last time we've seen 15-minute hit oversold was back at last daily consolidation back a couple weeks ago. So bulls bought the dip, we broke the double top, and then we sold off on very high volume. So here's a high volume end of the day surge. And the end of the day pattern, generally what is happening is, and I'm generalizing, is you get inflows where MSOS will create shares throughout the trading day. And yesterday there were a ton of inflows. I think it was like $14 million or $17 million. They create shares, they sell those shares. Isn't that dilution? Well, with the way the ETF works, they sell the shares, they get cash, and then they use that cash to buy the underlying stocks, generally before the end of the day. They have not been carrying a heavy cash balance. In the past, they would be much more open to carrying heavy cash balance. And recently, they have not been doing so. They've been using it up that same day. And so in the afternoon, we look for the ETF to buy those underlyings with the inflow capital that they have received. And so we get a end of the day run, but this is a high volume sell-off. That last minute there, that's $10 million being sold. So not going to ignore that. We now have 1064 as resistance and 979 as short-term support. So those are the two levels that I care about. Break 979 and daily consolidation is underway, and we then focus on first hourly oversold conditions and key 913 support for the bulls to try and maintain the daily uptrend. Looking at our back burner indicator, if we were to drop from here, first hourly oversold would happen in the 880s or so. So we're a long ways away from that happening. But overall, bulls are hanging on. We know that much. As far as, the dangling carrot of the headline, again, just keep in mind that I've said in the past that I will buy aggressive on a headline. The more we run up into the headline, the less I'm buying on the headline. The more of a sell the news, at least initially, reaction it would be. I'm not saying it's going to be sell the news, but I can't predict what I'm going to do if I don't know what's going on when the news hits. Again, if the news hits in a week and we're trading at $10.20, all right, I'm going to buy some aggressive longs. If the news hits in 6 weeks and we're trading at $12.49, what's the broader market doing? Is it at all-time highs? We have massive euphoria in the broader market right now. What if we're down 10% when the news hits? I need to know what those details are to know what I'm going to do when we act. And it's just so up in the air with, hey, maybe this month, maybe next month, probably by the end of Q1, we just don't know. So I can't say what my game plan is with any certainty because there's so many variables that I don't know what the answer is going to be. So it's one day at a time until then. And again, I got my core that I'm not selling until we get a Schedule 3 decision, and then I am trading day trades. And just to talk about liquidity, just to give you a little bit of insight for me as a professional trader with this sector. So today I traded Meta a couple times where I would market buy 1,000 shares. So almost $500,000 position. I'm filled in 1 second, and there's slippage of less than 0.1%. And then I try and play a TCNNF bounce, and I'm trading with 10% the position size, 5,000 shares, so $50,000, and I'm getting partial fills that go fill, fill, fill. My market order takes 10 seconds to fill, over 10 times as long as my meta market order, and it's just so illiquid that it can be a percent higher by the time my order triggers. I press market buy, and my order sits there, and the bid and the ask start adjusting, and the market makers are adjusting things, and it's just so unideal as a full-time trader, which is why uplisting will attract a lot more capital to trade this sector. But TCNNF, I tried to play this bounce and I bailed. I forget exactly where I was attempting, maybe down here, and I bailed because it's just these aren't conditions that meet my criteria of what I need to trade with my trading style. And so the bounce worked out, but very illiquid. So can't wait for uplistings in this sector. So TCNNF, this looks like a volume climax to me. And the 3.7 million shares traded is a ton. And I'm getting I'm not sure what TradingView is doing here on the daily charts, but I do have it on Fidelity. I'm looking at my other screen right now. Because if I zoom in, there's not 3.7 million shares worth of volume here. But on the daily chart, it says 3.7. On Fidelity, it says 3.7. So maybe it's some shares settling. Oftentimes, you will see, we used to have a market maker as a member in the chart guys, and he would tell me that even two brokers can place orders over the phone with each other, and then those shares settling hit the books as far as at 4:05 p.m. 100,000 shares traded on this stock, and it was done not on the open market between these individuals. So I'm not sure exactly what the volume is going on right now. We'll have to see if it remains that way. But one thing we can say, it's a high volume day, which means I watch for a climax. My mindset this week has been if TrueLeave is not seeing daily consolidation and keeps the stair-step pattern of a higher low every single day, MSOS isn't going to pull back. We have to break that stair-step pattern into daily consolidation for the sector. Right now the sector's looking at TrueLeave as the leader. And that's going to change, and we're watching for rotation. But when TrueLeave loses that stair-step pattern, the entire sector is going to consolidate. The question will be, how significant is that consolidation? And so we had a big drop. This shows you the lack of liquidity leading to volatility. 15% drop, and then that bounce into the end of the day, 18% bounce. But we did double top, 1186 and 1180. And so now into Monday, it's going to get very interesting. Normally, I look for an hourly lower high here. Because of the size of this retracement, I scout the hourly lower high for a short, playing off of the high. And then if we confirm the hourly downtrend, daily consolidation is underway. And that's just, this could be any stock or crypto or whatever. You show me that chart, I scout an hourly lower high. The size of this bounce is due to a lack of liquidity and potentially some buying from the ETF. But what we're going to be watching for is how does this shape up on Monday with that very clear resistance level. And again, as a hedge, if I've got a TrueLeave position, and Monday rolls around and the bell rings and we head up to 1150 first thing, I'm shorting 1150. I'm putting my stop over 1186 and then hoping that if we get daily consolidation, that I'm going to offset some of that downside of my swing TrueLeave position. And again, just giving you the mindset of what traders are doing here. And it also looks to me like professional traders are longing US cannabis and shorting Canadian cannabis as a hedge. And certainly the price action has been showing us that disconnect recently. So TrueLeave's the leader. Daily stair step is what matters most. When we break the daily stair step, we go to the hourly. We look for first hourly oversold conditions for a daily higher low. And if we bounce off daily EMA 12, hourly oversold marks a daily higher low, then the bulls are just fine, keeping complete control. Backburners are great for trading opportunity, for making money, but they're also great for the market giving us information. I'm watching backburners that I'm not even trading because I know if the backburner marks the higher low, the trend is just fine. And when it doesn't, that tells me things are shifting. So I often watch, semiconductors are in blue sky breakout right now. When we have a backburner result in a lower low, that tells me that we're weakening a bit more significantly. So definitely going to be watching the sector for the response to those backburners, even if I'm not going to be trading all of them. Curaleaf. So again, same thing, that volume is, I'm not sure what's going on with it because we did not have that volume during regular trading hours. Even this, big volume candle, that's 300,000, whereas this is showing me 6.5 million. Either way, daily EMA 12, key short-term support, 5 psychological. We had a little double bottom at 501 there. Hourly time frame, again, we topped out at 579. We pulled back significantly enough, and then we rejected from resistance. So a lot of these names heading into next week have a clear double top resistance to be watching, and we would have to break the low of today for that double top. Just exactly what we saw in MSOS. Double top on the 5-minute short-term time frames, double top and roll over into the new low of the day. Does that happen on the hourly charts is the question that we have heading into next week. Double top, does it roll over into new lows? If not, nothing to worry about. Bulls in full control. But we're definitely watching for it, especially with all that wild action and high volume at the end of today. So what bulls want to see in this market? I put out a clip recently saying the 3 characteristics of a bull market: backburners, shorter term oversold conditions marking longer term higher lows, rotation, and EMA 12 support on the daily weekly. So what would rotation look like now? What I would want to see is TrueLeave consolidate, keeping daily EMA 12 and trading sideways for a bit. And while it trades sideways, I would want to see the other tier 1 names, specifically Green Thumb. I would want to see Green Thumb see a clear leg up. Because what's been happening, the opposite's been happening. This was rotation out of Green Thumb into TrueLeave. How can I say that? Well, GTBIF divided by TCNNF shows us a massive shift. A couple weeks ago, Green Thumb was the strongest it has ever been compared to TrueLeave. And obviously that is drastically shifting with the Florida headline as the catalyst. So this is rotation. This was rotation out of the leader green thumb into the laggards. Truly, definitely a laggard. And now we're going to want to see the same thing back in the other way. We want to see True Leaf go sideways and see Green Thumb get a leg up. And we're also seeing potential for rotation in tier 2s. So AYRWF, they had these warrants, and there's some speculation that the dump today is to bring the price back down to where those warrants are in terms of their value. And it's obviously a huge sell candle, and this just shows you the volatility at tier 2s. You want to talk liquidity from the high of yesterday to the close today, down 24% in a matter of hours of trading. And so what I'm watching for is key support of 299. If that holds, it's a potential daily head and shoulders. We've got a lot of space for a daily lower high to be the result of the next bounce. But what I'm watching for is, look at how different these candles are. So we know this has been a lead bull. We were talking about the AYRWF divided by MSOS key level that broke and then dumped. But look at this. So relative strength for weeks. And look at TerraSend, TSNDF. It got its breakout today. Almost an opposite candle. And look at the run in the end of the day. The end of the day, bulls say, we're breaking out here, while we see AYRWF into the end of the day just dumping. They're going in opposite directions. So to me, that looks like tier 2 rotation. Out of this name into TerraSend, which has been underperforming over the last couple of weeks, sideways range breaking bull. So keeping an eye out for rotation. These are all good things. These are things we want to be seeing. We don't want to see the entire sector dropping together, everything closing at the low of the day like AYRWF. We want to see some names going up, some names chilling out. That shows capital rotating around within the sector, and that's a good sign. So next resistance on TerraSend, 234. We broke the HHS reaction high. We got up to 239. 250 is the next major level, and we'll see if the bulls can build off this momentum. So as I mentioned, the Canadian names, nice pop. And again, as a trader perspective, on this move yesterday, on the break of $5, I market bought $100,000 of CGC. I was instantly filled. It was in the low fives. Instantly filled, very liquid. Again, if I do that on an MSO, on the OTC, it's going to take 10 times longer to fill, and there's going to be 10 times as much slippage. 5 to 10 times as much slippage. So spike up, I'm selling into the strength. I know we don't have a headline. In my opinion, this was just a response to MSOS. MSOS broke 988, and then the Canadian names wake up and spike. And so, I jump in on that, and I sell, and I leave a little runner, and then as soon as we, fade back, I stop out of the runner, and it's just, no huge win or anything, just a nice little day trade. But the reaction today shows us, again, it's just a downtrend. And bears jumped all over it again. So this is why I'm speculating that big money that has a lot of exposure on the U.S. side is using Canada, these names, to short. Trulieve, anything under. I'm just a broken record at this point. First, it was anything under 212 is just a lower high. Now it's anything under 209 is just a lower high. And if we break bear from here, now we have 201, just another lower high. So the bulls are not doing anything to progress on these charts. And maybe that changes. I would not short these names on a headline. That's when you get the short squeeze kind of action. But on the absence of the headline and just a spike out of nowhere, that's my takeaway. I played CGC long, and my takeaway is I'm going to sell that faster next time and flip short. Stair-step pattern breaking bear at 517 marked the top. And then we just sold off from there. So, this is me looking at this information saying, all right, I'm going to do that next time too. If it's not a headline and we pop, I'm going to look to short it and act as a hedge. So CGC and TLRY, I'm watching for them to be laggards. I'm watching for rotation. It's just not there. And again, give me a reason to put my capital in these names. The break of $5 on high volume was a reason. but it didn't sustain. OGI is looking pretty good out of the Canadian, definitely a lead Canadian bull. So I posted this on Twitter earlier this week. Look at how similar these charts are. So on the left is OGI, on the right is CMPS, our psychedelic name. Downtrend forever, weekly time frames. And CMPS, downtrend forever, weekly time frames. So we've got CMPS had resistance, big dip to all-time low, fail resistance, bull flag off the EMAs as they cross bullish for the first time in over a year, breakout. Resistance, 2 psychological, drop down. I don't know if that's all-time low or not. Probably. Nope. But many year low, fail resistance, bull flag attempt off the back test of the EMAs, which are crossing bullish for the first time since they crossed bearish 2.5 years ago. So I have a position. I need to be transparent here. So I've got OGI, I've got TCNNF from a while ago, I've got MSOS, I've got a little MNMD, psychedelic name, but I grabbed OGI earlier this week. The reason being, I missed this one. I'm not going to miss this one. And so my mindset is for this thesis to be invalidated, if we break 155, I'm wrong. It's not the setup that I thought, because that needs to be the weekly high or low, and we need to break out above $2 next week. It doesn't have to be next week, but ideally it would be next week. So that has my interest. If we pull back, bulls want to maintain daily EMA 12. Look at us hold it, hold it, hold it, lose it. Now it's resistance, resistance, resistance. Now we're back above it. Want to hold that as support on any daily consolidation. So I like OGI on the Canadian side. I don't like the volume. I have to break some of my rules here to get in. I want $5 million average daily volume, and we don't have it. So my position size reflects that. If I'm in at 175 and my stop's 155, I'm risking over 10%. That's way too much risk. My day trades have a risk of like 0.4% as a lot of risk. So what do? I use a much smaller position size. My swing trading positions are much smaller than my day trading positions because you got gaps, you got potential for news, you have less control. So OGI is on watch. CMPS, looking for a daily high or low. No red flags. Again, just overextended, big time bull move. Best case scenario, the bulls hold daily EMA 12. We have not hit hourly oversold yet. We would need to drop down and break 1048 to head towards hourly oversold. We may not get there, but definitely looking for a daily high or low is the most likely scenario on CMPS. The other psychedelic names, ATAI, not doing much. MNMD, not doing much. I've just got an MNMD position from back here and just a runner that I haven't stopped out on. But other than that, CMPS, clearly the strongest name in the psychedelic sector right now. So overall, that is where we stand. Heading into next week, wild volume and volatility into the end of the day. Overall, bulls still have control. Low of Friday today is going to be a key level. Clear resistance on a lot of individual names. Many of them have double tops. Watching that resistance on Monday. Broader market's a factor. We can't ignore the fact that the broader market has been nothing but bull during this entire run. It's still in the melt-up phase. The broader market has been giving us only bull flags. Granted, the low caps, IWM, is not quite as strong as the S&P 500, but this is just bull flag, daily bull flag, daily bull flag, weekly bull flag, daily bull flag. You cannot have a stronger market environment. So part of the reason we're running up is the dangling carrot for news. Part of it is confidence because of the broader market strength. So keep that in mind. If anything were to shift, it would impact the sector a bit, in my opinion, but bulls are A-okay in the broader market right now. Appreciate you watching. Again, likes and shares are appreciated as well. Do good things. Feel free to ask any questions, and we'll continue to check in on the cannabis sector. Congrats to the bulls.